Oh, all right. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Grace. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
So, I'm really excited to get into our third blog. Last time you talked about what postpartum depression is and why it's important to spot the symptoms of anxiety and depression in pregnancy before the baby arrives. So, I guess my first question for you today is, can you share a little bit about what the overall purpose of your research is so our audience can understand what you're doing?
For sure. We're really trying to, I would say there are three pieces that our work really focuses on. Number one, we want to understand better about what emotional health looks like in pregnancy and after the baby's born, and what are symptoms that women can look out for in particular that might help them to identify that they need some support early. So that's our first check. What does it really look like for women to have anxiety or depression or stress or bipolar disorder in pregnancy or postpartum? And we want to use that information to help us to understand how to better identify women when they're struggling, both from a health provider perspective, but also so that women can be looking out for those symptoms on their own as well. The second thing we're interested in looking at is what is the impact of uh, anxiety or depression or stress in pregnancy on the baby. And, many parents want to know that information. They want to understand, what is this going to do to my baby? And, we can be really, no, let me start by saying fear is just the worst thing. Not knowing is worse than knowing. And so we want to help women to understand when they're struggling so that we can help them to turn that around and give them and their baby the best start to life. And then the third thing we're really interested in is how to help women in the long run. So we want to understand what can we do? What kinds of help are most effective for women if they do need their support? And how can their partners better support them? So those are really the three areas we're interested in.
Okay. Well, that's a lot. Can you tell me if you had to pick three key findings that you want pregnant women to know about based on your research, what would that be?
Right. The first thing I would say is that most women want to know when they're struggling. So there's been kind of this long-standing idea in healthcare that if we screen or ask people questions about their emotional health, that will be emotionally damaging, that people will find that stressful and difficult to be asked about their emotional health. And what we find is that actually 99% of women in our work have told us they want to be asked about their emotional health as part of
Right.
regular prenatal care. Some women have told us they want it to be just like getting their blood pressure taken. They simply want to understand if something's wrong so that there's a beginning point and they can start to create a plan for going forward. So that's, I think, one of the most important things. I think, secondly, to understand too that not all women want help. Women want, let me take a step back, 75% of women have told us in our research that they'd like to actually manage their symptoms of depression or anxiety or stress, low mood on their own. They want a
Really
chance to do
interesting.
it through things that they already do, through exercise or through meditation or reading or journaling or talking to friends. They want a chance to do that on their own. So knowing that means that we can help them to understand what are the most effective ways, and we'll talk about that on our blog going forward. What are the most effective things that you can do on your own to help you to either manage symptoms of depression or anxiety or help curtail high stress, or to prevent that from happening after you have your baby. And I think the third thing that I would say that we find is that women really like e-technologies. They like doing courses, e-courses. Sometimes you may have heard of them called e-therapies. So instead of going to perhaps someone for face-to-face help, this is something that women can do on their own, at home, in their own time and under their own conditions. And we think that women like that because they can be a little more honest. Sometimes it's easier to do things on their own than it is to talk and have that conversation face to face, which for some women is harder. So we find that women really take to even screening or therapy that's actually done online.
Hmm. And what projects are you working on now to best serve these women who prefer to take a more independent route in their emotional health during pregnancy?
Right. The biggest thing that we're doing right now is developing a very sort of self-serve platform that includes e-screening, e-referral, and e-therapy. What this looks like is women can take a link or an app link, and once they enter into it, then they can start to access mental health care. They can answer certain questions about depression, anxiety, stress. We can help them to identify whether they're struggling with any of these in a way that is above and beyond what might be considered normal for pregnancy. So women can have it, and then we give women that information back so that they have a really good sense of where they stand in their emotions and in their emotional health. And then we can give women options. Sometimes they can be options in their own community, places that they can go to get help if that's needed, or they can have access to online therapy as well, or online courses that help them to understand how to cope better, how to communicate better, how to move through this transition better, how to deal with guilt and perfectionism, that many women experience going forward from pregnancy. So what we're doing here in Alberta is actually giving about 25% of the women who will deliver in Alberta in this next year access to this app. And we're testing it out to see whether it might serve women, pregnant and postpartum women as a whole. The value in this too, in this app that we have, is that it gives women a chance to be screened and to check in on their emotional health, not just once, but every trimester, when they have their baby, 1 month after they have their baby, and then 3 and 6 months later as well. So it gives us a chance to have sort of long-term check-ins and follow-up. We also have a telephone-based coach that is available for women to access. So if they feel like they need if they need a person to talk to, then that's available as well. So that's what we're working on.
Wow, that is truly wonderful. So I guess the obvious follow-up question for that is, for women who are interested in learning more about the e-technology that you're creating or the study that you're putting forward to get ready to release this new app, what is the best way for them to find out more information and how they can sign up for this?
Right. So women can go to our website, and the link is just below this vlog. And that will it gives a little bit of a picture of what we're doing, gives some screenshots of what this app looks like. And it'll keep updating in terms of when we're ready to launch this and when women can start participating.
Wonderful. I will make sure we have that website link below and a newsletter link below. So those who want to find out more, they can just sign up for the newsletter.
Great. Thank you, Grace. Fantastic.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Dawn, for sharing.
Bye for now, Grace.
Bye now.